students who join private universities will qualify for loans from the Higher Education Loans Board. They will, however, not qualify for scholarships from the government of Kenya.
This government has no option, only to have and to give quality education to Kenyans.
70% of the people who made the decision to put Kenya Kwanza government into power, I think they will have a different decision. I think right now they think that they made a wrong decision.
Ndegwa, this is the government that said bottom up, kutoka chini kwenda juu. Now we are seeing the government during the Uhuru tenure. We saw that 100% transition from primary to secondary, and 100% from secondary to tertiary institution, that is colleges, technical institutes, and also university. Now the government is now trying to increase the fee on this tertiary institution as well as in secondary school. Do you think that child coming from a humble background will afford this compared to during Uhuru tenure, putting in mind that the economic hardship Kenyans are going through?
First, it's not that the government is planning to increase the fee for the tertiary institutions. It has already increased the fee.
Okay.
Because now for the current first years of this year, they have paid a lot of money. So as for me, I see that is a challenge to most of the families, because most of the students come from humble backgrounds, where parents maybe their ability to provide for the fee is a bit low. Maybe for the prices that were there before the government removed them, that it was quite fair. And I need to come to understanding that even before they were increased, some parents were still uncomfortable in paying the small amount that was there.
Yeah.
So you can compare now, the prices have maybe even tripled. So now the parents have a hardship. And the other thing, if the government increases the fee for the secondary schools, I think now that will now lead to dropouts and all that.
Exactly.
And now, you know, when we have a lot of dropouts, the country now will be in a problem, because those people who drop out, of course, they will now start looking for ways that they can generate their own money and income. And now we'll have increased cases of theft, increased cases of the street families and all that, because most of the children will quit from home and go and start looking for their lives in establishing their lives in the streets. So it will just be a downfall for the country. Yeah.
And what solution do you think? Because you said that this government is here to stay 10 years. To my knowledge, I think it is 5 years, then another 5 years, because we will go to a 2027 election. But you said this government is here for 10 years. You can maybe shed light on that. And what solution do you think the government should do, or the parents should do, if this government is to stay in the regime for another 10 years?
For me saying that the government will be there for 10 years, I meant if the government will continue doing what is right, maybe if they will amend for what they are doing wrong right now, they might be re-elected in 2027.
Exactly.
But if they won't, maybe we will think of another option, a better option. And for the government, I think I should advise them to try to regulate the amount, especially the amount for those who are in the tertiary institutions. They should try to lower that.
Okay.
And maybe even if it would go back to where it was, at least they lower it by at least 40%. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Shalton, on to still that matter that the government is, when I was saying that the government is trying to hike the price of the tertiary institution, is because they had divided the fee in, I think, in 4 threshold. Yeah. Extreme needy, yeah, and now the government said that the president said that every parents will now pay something, even if it's that extreme need. What do you think this will have to the impact it will have to parents, and also the impact it may have in the future? Because remember, during the Moi Kibaki, they had that the 2030 CG vision. I don't think we still have that vision, or maybe you have another perspective on that. Oh, thank you. Coming to this, I think at the dawn of independence, the first president of the Republic of Kenya, that's the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, had three pillars to address. That was ignorance, poverty, and ignorance, poverty, and the other one I don't know, and diseases. And you realize the aspect of ignorance was basically it was a cruel call so that we can have more Kenyans to be educated. The literacy level was to be reduced. And you realize that when Moi came to power, Moi said Nyayo, if he will follow the footsteps of Kenyatta. Then Kibaki came, and Kibaki will be fondly remembered for this, that he said, I will make sure that there is free primary education, if you can remember.
Yeah.
So this government, coming to your question, this government has no option, only to have and to give quality education to Kenyans, and this education should be at least that education that each and everyone can afford. And I want to say that President Ruto the other day established a task force to ensure that there are educational reforms, and these reforms were only to make sure that each and every Kenyan or each and every citizen has that right to access education. So I think people are misunderstanding the reports and the recommendation of this task force. But the task force was very clear that they are not going to abandon government capitation for university, that they are only going to classify people in terms of their background and in their income. The classification of less needy, needy, and extremely needy. So I think this government, they should be given time, in the sense this task force, the recommendation are not yet put into practice. So I think they should be given an opportunity so that this task force and the recommendations are put in place. And I want to, concluding on that, Nelson Mandela, the former president of South Africa, said one thing, that education is the game changer. So I think this government should take education serious, because even President William Ruto is there courtesy of education, and he went to school where he accessed his university education because he had that government sponsorship. So I think education is something that people should not take lightly, because even us, we are here courtesy of education. Want to for education, we will not have reached here. So I think the government should treat education with a lot of seriousness that it deserves, and the Ministry of Education under Ezekiel Machogu should put his best feet forward to ensure that each and every citizen enjoy that equal right of free education, which is affordable.
You know, Shalton, you and I, we can be in agreement that you cannot tell a hungry person to give him, or maybe 1 day, 2 days to eat. Now this government is it is now, I think, 15 months. They are telling us, let's give them time. As you can see, the first years are here. They are paying more than we are paying, and to my knowledge is that there's that child coming from extreme, I think I can say extreme, that they cannot afford even food. They depend on help. Now do you think that if the government keep on saying that give us time, you see this child, this student will now drop out from the school and maybe go and hustle, and that will now halt their career?
So I think on this issue, the government should treat it as a national disaster, because education, as I said earlier, and I repeat again, education is the game changer. And Minister of Education, I think under Ezekiel Machogu, he should treat education with a lot of seriousness, and the seriousness that is deserved. You realize that higher education of late, since this regime came into power, higher education has not been given the seriousness that they deserve. So I think
Why?
because let's take, for example, think like help. There are some students who basically survive on help. In terms of accommodation, in terms of food, and you realize that they are not able to access this fund up to date, and most of them are 2 months since they reported. So I think the stakeholders should come together. They should rally their hands together so that they realize these things, and the matter of health is a foregone conclusion.